such a presence amongst us that made us happy and hopeful. We will miss your joy of yourself and your sense of humor. We also want to say something to Mercy as you go through this very difficult time in your life. Mercy, we will be forever thankful for the love, the care, and the grace that you showed Bwalya in his life, but also during the difficult time with his illness and the trip to India. We also remember Mercy, the love that you had for our late mother, Bwalya Mugai, Bwalya's mom, our mom, and for the family. The way you lived with your husband Bwalya, our brother, is a testimony of the Proverbs woman, which says, "He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord." Go well.
Good afternoon. I'm going to read a tribute from the nephews and the nieces, but it's going to be in two parts. The first part is from our sister Chibolo, who's in Canada. She sent something for Uncle B, which I'll read out. Then the second part will be from the rest of the nephews and nieces. So this is a tribute for Uncle B from Lulu. We're still reeling from the shock of your passing, still asking the Lord why. Why take away our loving Uncle B? Uncle B, as you were dearly known to many of us nieces and nephews. Only time will help us heal from the deep wounds and sorrow in our hearts. We will eventually come to accept that God knows all things. The memory of your loud and booming voice still rings in our ears, a voice that you would use to lovingly call out one of our names. We always knew Uncle B was around when he entered the room. His distinct voice always a source of comfort to our ears. Our memories are painted with the white smile on his face and the sparkle in his eyes. The way he would participate in an exchange of sarcastic jokes with one of us, all the while knowing that the banter was just banter, grounded in place of deep fatherly love. As your daughter, I would like to say thank you for the gift of your presence in my life. The memory of you walking me down the aisle on my wedding day is one that will remain in my memory forever and in my heart. As I held your hand before we set foot into the church, I remember you whispering to me, "I'm proud of you, my daughter." Thank you, Uncle B. Thank you for everything. I remember you whispered to me again, very recently. I remember you whispering, "I'm proud of you, my daughter." You always said this to me again and again, and I always smiled. When you said it last, I did not know that it would be one of our last conversations. I want to thank you for being an incredible father to all of us. We will dearly miss you, Uncle B. Our hearts ache for you, but your memory and your voice will reverberate in our hearts forever. We promise to live our lives in your honor and do everything to make you proud. We also take comfort in knowing that you are at peace and smiling down on us with the angels. That's a tribute from Lulu. The second part of this tribute is from the rest of the nieces and nephews. Now, even though I keep saying tribute, it's actually a few memories that have probably impacted us over the past couple of days as a family. And it kind of has opened our eyes to a lot of what we don't see, or we take lightly, we take for granted. Every time I come up to speak on behalf of my siblings, especially in the past couple of years, I would always see Uncle Bwalya in the crowd. And it was always like he was already talking to us. Everybody has spoken about his humor. And the funny thing is, it's not only his humor, it's also how he never said anything, yet you still understood what he was saying to you. When he was disappointed, when he was happy, when he was trying to crack his jokes or preparing to crack one of his jokes, you would know, and he wouldn't even say anything. And then when he delivered what he was going to say, the impact would be twice as epic as it should be. That's because a man that size, with a heart that big, was indeed a joy to behold. He was a gentle giant. If he was standing here right now, the thing he would tell me is, he would say, "Look to your left." You would notice there is Honorable Chalikosa, Honorable Kapata. Look to your right, there is Honorable Lo, or Mama, as I call her. And then he would say, "Don't be sad in this moment. Start a fight. Make them uncomfortable. Start talking about Bill 10. Let them explain it to us." Because also Honorable Shakapuswa is here. And you know he's also going to throw in a few punches. And we'll laugh. Because that's who Uncle B was. When I went to the hospital the first time in his second stint, the moment I walked in, he said, "Kunda, I'm happy. Now I can tell somebody about the family wealth." I didn't understand it. Again, when I had another moment, just about a week before everything happened, I was with the Chief Chiwesaphondo. We called Uncle Bwalya. We were driving. And he put Uncle Bwalya on speaker. And Uncle Bwalya said something. He says, "I'm happy you've called," talking to Uncle Bob, or Chief Chiwesaphondo. And he says, and Uncle Bob was trying to brush it off like it's normal, because obviously in this situation, everybody's trying to be relaxed. And Uncle Bwalya says, "No, this is what Mom always spoke about." And at that moment, there was that connection between two brothers. That's family love, that is irreplaceable, even in his toughest time. So going backwards now to what I said, The family wealth Bwalya was talking about was what lies in each one of us. It's unity. Since Bwalya Guy passed away, who was the biggest champion of family first, if I'm to be honest, we've drifted. And Uncle Bwalya was trying to put everything back together. That is why everybody who stood at this podium has said the same thing. Uncle Bwalya brought people together. So technically, he was continuing what Bwalya Guy did. Now the question I'll ask myself is, when Uncle Bwalya was explaining the family wealth, what was he trying to say to us? Or what was he trying to say to me? He was saying that somebody has to carry the torch and keep trying to put the family together. And it should not take moments where we're down for the family to come together. What I've seen happen, the time we lost them all, it's amazing. But why is it taking it these moments for the family to come together? We should celebrate each other even when everything is great. Uncle Bwalya asked, what will happen to my daughters? So I will answer the question. Come, Chibesa, come. Where's Mugai? Mugai, where's Mugai? Uncle Bwalya raised each person you're seeing on this stage, not as a nephew or niece, but as a child of his. So Chewe Chiwulwanchana, to answer Uncle B's question, this is what will happen to you. Everyone on this stage and everybody sitting in the crowd will make sure you never feel his absence. Because what he did for us, we will do for him. Uncle Bwalya, we love you. We thank you. We will never be able to thank you enough for everything you did for each one of us. And to the family, this is the new generation that is going to ensure that everything that you've done for us, even through Uncle Bwalya, he was always the best. Not because he was competing with anybody, but because in his lane, he made sure he delivered. So our tribute and our commitment is that we will deliver. We will carry the mantle.
He visited all of my family homes in Luansha, even here in Lusaka, even spent nights there, and so did I do the same in Lusaka. The only place I probably never visited was Kunda village, but in fact we had a day with him that possibly this year we could have gone there for one of the traditional ceremonies. I did not go for the advent of the pandemic and also because of the illness. As a young lad, Bwalya Christopher Luo used to brag about his three-letter surname Luo, which he always signed off as "love you only." So in celebration of his life, today I will concentrate on this Luo surname, but not as "love you only." I will start with the first letter L. I will say loving. Because to me, like even the father alluded to, he was loving indeed. First thing he did, he was loving to God. And he completed all the Catholic sacraments. And even before he left for India, there was a good service there in his ward at the UTH. I think it was led by a Father Sakara. He loved everybody, all the parents, all the uncles, all the nieces, all friends, all siblings, his wife especially, all the kids, all the in-laws. He was indeed a pillar. And I believe he is in heaven right now. A few days ago, I had some kind of invitation from him. In our dream, we're exchanging, we're interacting in the dreams, and he's in a very happy place. The next letter in the Luo surname, Yu, I would say he was unconventional. He did things differently. He thought outside the box. The way he ran his legal practice was different from all the other lawyers. You didn't need an appointment to see him. He didn't have 3 or 4 secretaries. Anybody could walk in. And those who didn't understand him, they mistook that to be maybe incompetence. But sooner or later, some of them, I remember, even took their businesses elsewhere, but soon enough they came back because he delivered. Even the way he ran his business was quite unconventional, but he was very, very successful. And those who didn't know him, they thought maybe he wasn't caring enough or whatever they wanted, especially if they wanted the help. They didn't understand how he did things, but ultimately he did help them. He flew straight, he flew low-key, and he was steadfast. Those of us who attempted to be high flyers, we crashed, but he didn't crash. He maintained and he succeeded. Even his lifestyle, he was quite unconventional, but he was successful indeed. And the last letter, I would say he was outrageous. Outrageous because he was always taking the mickey out of everybody. He made everybody laugh, whether it was the priests, the judges, anybody, he made them laugh. Especially even with the uncles, sometimes I would try to counsel him, but he would still insist, he would call them by their first name. Like Uncle Ronald Twesakunde would say, Ronald. The chief, Twesakunde would just say, Bob. Or our elder sister, Aunt Mabel, would just say, Mabel. That's how he was. I think it was outrageous, but that's what made him. He was always taking the mickey out of people. I remember one of our sisters took us many years ago on one of our dates, somebody who wanted to marry her. So when we got there as maybe chaperones, we got there and the gentleman involved bought some brandy. And those days, in the counter days, to buy that you needed US dollars, and you could only find that, I think, from the duty-free shops. So while the gentleman was busy introducing our sister to the rest of the family, we looked at each other with him and we polished that bottle, I think, in a matter of about 3-4 minutes. And that was the end of the date, and we were shouted at the whole way. That's how outrageous. I can see we've got our friend here, Mr. Peter Mere, with the wife, the judge. They met at the university, and most of our friends found their partners at the university. My friend and myself could not find our partners at the university because of his outrageousness. We would go and visit the ladies, and whenever we told them anything serious, they would just simply laugh because they thought we were always joking. But that's the way it was. It was alluded to by cousin Chipepo here that he went to school in Zimbabwe. He spent, I think, a year because he didn't do well. Because of his outrageousness, he messed up his Form 5 here. But he went and did well. He got flying colors to enable him to get into the university. But in that short time he was there, he learned Shona very fluently.